As we've outlined over the last couple of days, it's been an interesting conversation as to if this is in fact the last year Derek Carr will be the starting quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think it's something that is probably a great possibility. That is in fact his last year. You know, he's had quite a few years, 8-9 years now in the NFL, specifically with the Raiders to bring him to that next level. Yes, I'll even extend the olive branch. He hasn't had a top 15 or top 10 defense in that entire time, but at the same time, there's a lot of other NFL quarterbacks that don't have great defenses and have still been able to do some things and create some damage. You know, but I do really think that this could be Derek Carr's last season with the Raiders. So what does that do? That opens up the door for a bigger conversation in that is the conversation of the dream quarterback scenarios for the Las Vegas Raiders in 2023. So what exactly does that mean? So you've got a couple of quarterbacks that I think the Raiders, specifically with how Derek Carr's contract is written out, we outlined it a couple of days ago, talking about if it's his last year with the Raiders. You know, after I think it's February 12th or 14th, if they cut him before that date, they are not liable to pay that $40 million in total contract for that for the rest of this continuum for the Derek Carr contract. So if you could only have $6 million dead, you get rid of that $34 million liability, and all of a sudden now you open up this whole thing for a lot more possibilities. I think that makes things a lot more interesting in that you could bring in some really good quarterbacks that have proven track records or that have really shown themselves to be the whole thing. And even if you're going to draft your quarterback of the future, fine, let's do that. Let's blow this whole thing up. Let's get crazy. So for the first quarterback in this, in this dream quarterback scenario for the Las Vegas Raiders, I think you start out going bold and big right away. Yes, Lamar Jackson. I think you try to find a way to bring him in. So earlier in the year, the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson did not exactly come to terms on a contract extension. And let me just be candid, big mistake on the Ravens' part. So he's a proven winner in the NFL. He's the 2019 NFL MVP where he had, what was that, like 36 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. He sat out the last game of the season. Like the Ravens, they were just tough that year. They went 13-2 under Lamar Jackson that year, and he's fantastic. He absolutely is. He's a proven winner. Even on the ground, he does so many different things. Multiple 1,000-yard seasons, rushing seasons as a quarterback is absolutely insane. Over 12,000 passing yards, over 100 passing touchdowns in his first 5 years in the NFL, and a 45-16 record as a starting quarterback in the NFL. And it's like, can you imagine what Lamar Jackson would do with this Raiders offense? Let's just say for the sake of argument, okay, you keep Devontae Adams, you keep Josh Jacobs. A read option with Josh Jacobs and Lamar Jackson, oh boy, good luck. Good luck. Because Lamar Jackson in his own right, when it's 3rd and 4, you need a play, he's going to make that happen for you. He's going to put you in a position to win. You need a little bit of help on defense. Yes, we've covered that. But the fact that this man could help the stagnicity, or not, maybe that's not a word, or help your offense to not be stagnant in key situations could be absolutely huge. So I think that's something that the Raiders should look into. If you're going to pony up the dough for a quarterback that wins and that puts your team in a position to win. Quarterback number 2, as for the dream quarterback scenarios for the Raiders in 2023, Geno Smith. Kind of let out the cat out of the bag there. But I know what people are going to say in the comment section down below. I get it. He's only had one major year in where he's actually shown that he can be a competent NFL starter. Over 3,400 passing yards this year for the Seahawks. I believe they're currently, sitting at 2nd place in the NFC West right now. He's got 25 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions. And yes, he has, even last year, he really stepped in good for Russell Wilson when he went down with an injury. But overall, yes, you got to be really excited for where Geno Smith has led the Seahawks this year. I really feel like he's shown that he can not only be a quality starter, I think he can be a guy that you can build around. So if you get a guy in there, and I think Geno Smith would be kind of cheap. I think you could probably spend in the neighborhood of $15 to $16 million a year on Geno Smith, so you can build him an offensive line, you could bring in another potential wide receiver, you can bring in some more defensive pieces, whatever you want to do. I think it would make a lot of sense. $15 to $16 million a year for Geno Smith. You build the rest of your team around him and see what he can do. I think it's definitely something that you should consider. Now, the dream quarterback scenario number 3, if you're going to truly blow this thing up like we talked about, any of the rookie quarterbacks, obviously I don't mean any of them, but any of the rookie quarterbacks that you want to take a flyer on there we go. That's the best way to put it. Because whether it's CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or any of these rookie quarterbacks, I think you got to be excited because those two, the first 2 names there, have shown a lot of things. Anthony Richardson coming up, the Gator. Yes, the Gator. I think, he is Lamar Jackson 2.0. I think he's got an NFL arm for days. I mean, honestly, can probably sling that thing 60, 70 yards. Hendon Hooker has shown some things this year coming up out of Tennessee. Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. Kentucky this year as well, has shown a lot of things this year. So the Raiders are kind of in an interesting position because, the Raiders probably are going to be in that, 10 to 12 position, depending on the actual final ranking of the NFL draft. But I do think that it is going to be a position where the Raiders, do have a position where they're going to be looking pretty good. So, I think that, and I'm going to bring up the current ranking order of the NFL draft here, and this is according to NFL.com. If my computer, well, I would probably say it's user error, but okay, so here's how things would stack up. So yes, the Texans would have the number 1 overall pick, fine. The Seahawks, because of the trade with the Broncos, I mean, they got away with like bandits, so they could potentially take CJ Stroud, any of those quarterbacks there. They're looking absolutely fantastic if they wanted to move on from Geno Smith, which makes a lot of sense. Also, the Bears there are at number 3, so they could get some edge help, some D-line help. Yes. The Eagles, it's absolutely unfair. So then you got the Detroit Lions at 5. They just continue to win from that, the Matthew Stafford trade? Yes. The Cardinals at 6, the Indianapolis Colts at 7, and then the Raiders at 8. So the Raiders could be in an interesting spot. If you could trade up, you could do some different things there. If you're going to move on from Derek Carr, Will Levis will probably be there. I know we mentioned Hendon Hooker and all those guys. So the Raiders are in a good spot, especially if they want to trade up for an NFL quarterback and if they want to find their guy. It's something that I think that they could look at doing because they're right there. They're at 8. They have a top 10 pick. And I don't think they're going to have to trade a lot to potentially not to trade have to trade a lot to be able to get up to that number 1 overall pick. But that's it. That is our dream quarterback scenarios for the Las Vegas Raiders in 2023. If and potentially when they do move on from Derek Carr. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truly awesome, and we love every single one of you. Down in the description below, you'll find all of our social media platforms. So give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think. Is there a quarterback that we missed, maybe another quarterback you'd like to see in a Raider uniform, and let us know what you guys think about the dream quarterback scenarios for the Las Vegas Raiders in 2023.